Welcome to the Tea with Tamara podcast. I'm Tamara Arnold, and it wasn't that long ago that I was a broke single mom, drinking way too much, completely detached from everything. Now I've written multiple books, downloaded I Could Read Chakras, and I'm a channel for the universe. I'm a real person with real stories, and I can't wait to share them with you. So grab a warm bevy, and let's have some enlightened conversation to live our best life. Hey friends, welcome to Tea with Tamara and Kelsey Abbott. I am so excited to introduce you to this human. I met her a couple months ago, and I have to tell you, she is absolutely amazing. She's a confidence coach, an instigator of joy. Truly and completely, I laughed out loud so hard in this episode. She's a writer, a speaker, and a host of the Find Your Awesome podcast. Guys, you're going to want to grab a bevy, sit back, and truly enjoy this episode. Kelsey Abbott is a light in this world, and this conversation is the bomb. Hey, magical beings. I am so excited because I'm sitting here with someone I've known for such a short time, but it feels like lifetimes, which I get. I say often when I start this show because it's so true. But I actually met Kelsey when I was at an event in October, and we're in December, so a couple months. And she kind of blew my mind a little. And I was like, whoo, now I need to know this person. So we became fast friends on Facebook. And then randomly she messaged me and was like, you've been in my heart, which let's just say is the cutest thing I've ever received in my messenger in my life. And she was like, we need to chat. And what was funny is that I had legitimately been thinking about her like crazy as well. And so we don't skip those universal signs and not like take immediate action on them. And so it was like, let's chat. And I feel like our relationship has just bloomed since then. But she's also a magical unicorn. And I want to share her gifts with every single one of you. So welcome, Kelsey. And yeah.
Thank you. That was the best intro ever. Thank you so much.
It is my extreme pleasure. My extreme pleasure. And I never quite know how to start these things. So I'm just going to say what we always say, which is like, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Well, what do you want to know? I mean, we can go wherever we want to go with a little bit about myself. I'm going to come clean on this. I'm a confidence coach. That's what it says in my bio. And that word isn't totally resonating with me right now because I feel like confidence, to some people, they hear that word confidence as pushing, forcing, like masculine energy of like doing and strategizing, and that is the opposite of who I am. I'm all about flow and ease.
So then how long have you been using confidence in your, conversations?
Oh, it's been there since the beginning because and it's been the last it's the last 2 months really that I've been like, it's time to change, but what to change to?
Okay, but you can't say it's been there since the beginning and think we know what that means, Kelsey.
Oh, that is true.
When is the beginning?
The beginning. Okay, let's see. You guys can't read my mind. I don't understand that. Okay, so I started my business like 5 years ago. Backstory. I studied psychology in college, did nothing with it, and went on instead to study dolphins and dolphin conservation and dolphin behavior and dolphin health. And then I went to grad school and I studied killer whales and killer whale behavior and health. And then I went to, I worked for the government for a little while in environmental management and marine mammal science. And then I was offered a big promotion, tons of money, turned it down. Said no thank you. I quit and moved to Maine. I became a science writer, which sounds so much less interesting than it is. It's actually, I took stuff that was like scientific papers and made them fun and accessible and funny. And along the way, I was always coaching swimming. And eventually I added teaching group fitness and spinning and coaching triathletes. When I was coaching triathletes, I found that workouts, my people didn't need a workout. Like, they could have gotten a workout anywhere, but what they really needed was help understanding and seeing and remembering that they are worthy, remembering that they are loved, remembering that they are love, and setting boundaries and stuff. And that is when I learned about life coaching school. So I went off I immediately fell in love. The second I learned that life coaching was a thing, I was 100% on board, enrolled in the program at IPAC, and off to the races. And day one of the IPAC program, I knew it was exactly where I was supposed to be.
That's very powerful. And you also dropped a lot of information, like an information bomb on me. And I'm like, I need to go back to the dolphins right now. You knew that was coming. I should have seen me when she said it, everybody. I sat right up with big eyes. I'm like, that's so cool. So like, I love the story of what brings us to our spiritual journey. It's probably my favorite thing. And so you took psychology in university, and then you went right into dolphins. Like, was that like, so how old were you, and where do you get a job in dolphins? How does that come to pass?
You don't get paid for it. That's one part of the puzzle. Actually, so when I was in college, I remember going to career services. I think I went once and then was like, oh no, these people can't help me. They were like, there was a big push at my school. So I was captain of the swim team and water polo team. So sports captains, we all got recruiting letters from investment banks. And I knew right away, oh no, that is not what I want to do. And I saw some of my friends going off to job interviews wearing suits. And I was like, also, I don't ever want to wear a suit. So I went to the career services office. I majored in psychology and art history, and I minored in biology. And they're like, okay, do you want to go to med school? No. Do you want to go to law school? No. Do you want to be an investment banker? No, we've already been through that, haven't we? Like, no. And they're like, so how about a teacher? And I was like, I don't know. And then they were like, well, vet school? I was like, I don't know. Of all the options, that does sound like the best one. What I was really, truly interested in was behavior, animal behavior. I had been drawn to psychology because I'm fascinated by humans and by behavior. But at the time, positive psychology wasn't a thing. Positive psychology literally launched the year I graduated from college, so it hadn't like spread yet. So psychology was all about dysfunction. It was all about mental illness. And that didn't pull me in. I was more interested in what I now know as coaching, which is the like going from a great present to an awesome future. So yeah, I followed the path to a dolphin internship in Hawaii, which is also where I met my now husband. We trained dolphins together and did dolphin research. And I was also a veterinary intern there. So I was still thinking vet school might be a possibility. Then I went and worked somewhere else, and they euthanized a bunch of animals. And that's when I knew that I could not go to vet school because I could never do that.
They did what to the animals?
They euthanized them. They put them to sleep forever.
Well, that's a sad story, Kelsey.
Yeah. So that's not why I'm not in vet school.
Right? But I've heard that, right? Like in vet school, you take the good and the bad, that when it comes along with that.
Yeah.
You were in your 20s at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Was that like a job interview to get into a Hawaiian dolphin?
Yeah. Yeah, there was an application and then an interview process. And they took 7 interns for each. I think it was broken up into like a fall, spring, and summer group.
We can look at this as being the universe's way of bringing you and your partner together, can we not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, he's from Canada. I'm originally from Massachusetts. People are like, oh, did you guys meet in school? No, we met in Hawaii.
Way better story.
So, and I usually, people will be like, where'd you guys meet? And I'm like, training dolphins in Hawaii. And people are like, wait, what? People
Yeah,
just
it's the
don't
best
believe
story
me, basically.
ever.
Mhm.
So you mentioned something just now that I think is a really integral part of who you are and what you do, and that's like positive psychology didn't exist yet. It was just coming out when you were coming, out of college. But I don't know if everybody that's listening knows what positive psychology is versus regular psychology. Can you shed some light on that for us?
Yeah, only a little bit, because I don't know the official definition. But the way I see it as regular psychology, like I said, is about dysfunction. It's about mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Positive psychology is about what makes people happy. Where does creativity come from? It's, there's so much to psychology, which is the science of how we think and how we behave. There's so much to that beyond just mental illness. We are fascinating creatures, and I want to know how we operate. I've been fascinated by and entirely amused by humans since I was a kid. I think we are freaking hilarious.
Are you the person that like go sit on a bench and just like watch people all day long and their interactions, how they do things?
I lifeguarded for, I don't know, probably a total of like 10 years with picking up an hour here or there. And yeah, that is how I would get through lifeguarding shifts, just watching people.
I could not do lifeguarding. I love you for that. I would be like, oh, I can't even sit like in any place for more than a very short period of time without having to move and like go to the bathroom, get tea, do whatever, right? So like I can only imagine thinking about that. So let's go back to swimming.
So I did that. I started swimming competitively when I was 9. I swam. I didn't swim much as a younger kid. I loved the water, but my parents would try and get me to join the swim team, and I was always like, no, absolutely not. And then the little brochure from the Y arrived one day, and I was like, I want to join the swim team. And my parents were like, what? And I found my home in the water. Totally loved it. Swam all through high school and college. In high school, I started playing water polo as well, which, for the record, is something that I think in 7th grade I declared, what a stupid sport. What are these funny hats for? No, I would never play water polo. So I started playing 3 years later and was completely hooked on it. And I swam through, when I graduated college, I was done with my swimming career, kind of. But all my friends were like, oh my God, I am done. Like, never want to get in a pool again, zero desire for competition. I was like, what's next? So within, 2 years later, I was crammed into the backseat of a car with a few of my brand new friends because I had just started grad school. I was like a week into it. And one of my new friends was like, hey, want to do the triathlon? And I was like, when is there a triathlon? There's one at the Marine Lab in a couple weeks. And I was like, no, because I always wanted to do a triathlon, but I wanted to train for it because I was convinced I'd be really good at them, but I needed to train. I'm not a perfectionist, but this was like a moment of perfectionism. And I remember going through that whole thought process with my butt half on that back seat and then just kind of closing my eyes and be like, yeah, let's do it.
Now, were you running before this or cycling, I mean?
I started running. So I was a swimmer. I was a swimmer. Swimmers don't run. Swimmers no, it's so awkward seeing true swimmers on land. So I ran, and it was, I used to, I ran in Hawaii. I would run 5Ks. And Tamara, my times were, I can run really easy a 5K right now, really easy, zero effort, and I would still go 5 minutes faster than I did at the time. And at the time, it was an all-out run.
Right.
So I was running, but I didn't know what I was doing. I had a mountain bike. I didn't use it for mountain biking. I would just it was exercise. It was just play.
So at this moment, you had 2 weeks to do you're adding 2 sports into your life that you have never really done and saying yes, I am going to go in and I am just going to take the one piece of this puzzle that I know I significantly can make, a pretty cool thing with here. And I'm just going to add these extra 2 and go for it. 2 weeks happens. How did you do in the race?
I have no recollection. I don't even remember the moment of crossing that finish line. But I had fun. And I do remember riding my mountain bike and kind of laughing because it's kind of like riding a tractor. But then a year later, I was deep into my master's research, and I've never been I movement is very important to me. It's kind of how it inspires me and empowers me. It's how I tap into my creativity. It's how I just like tap into myself. And I was like, I can't just do a master's project. That feels very empty to me. So let's train for a triathlon. So then I signed up for a triathlon. The race was right around when my final presentation was for my dissertation, and like a week before or a week after. The timing ended up perfect. And I trained for real, and yeah, I placed in my age group. I remember that.
That's ridiculous. Sorry, I'm just like, so the first time you trained, you placed in your age group. That's amazing. I have to ask a question that I know that I personally need to know the answer to, and maybe some of my listeners. If you guys are not water people, I'm not a water person, but I'm not a water person for one really ridiculous reason. And so here it is. I'm just going to lay it on the ground. How often do you have to shave to be in the water that much? Because like personally, I hate shaving and it prevents me from going in the water.
Because I grew up as a swimmer, I mean, I don't shave my legs every day, but I shave anything that's going to be exposed other than the legs in a bathing suit every day. That's how I shower.
That's imperative, right? So then I'm going to drop it like it's hot. How often were you shaving your legs if you were in the water every single day?
So in swimming, I remember my birthday's in October, and I used to give myself my birthday present was I would shave my legs. And then I wouldn't shave again until championship meet, which would be in March. Because that's a swimming thing. You don't shave your legs because you want to, when you shave, you've got this fresh feel for the water. Yeah. There's also so much more drag when you've got hair on your legs. So before a big meet, you shave, you're fast. So
it's like when you're running and you've got the bands holding you back, it adds a little resistance so that you're just like more explosive on your race day. I'm so glad I asked this question. I got to learn that little piece of information.
Yeah. And I was lucky. I never had like super furry legs. People couldn't really tell that my legs were super hairy. Like the sun could catch them and then you could see, but it wasn't, I didn't have like super dark, thick hair on my legs, thankfully.
I'm going to fast forward here, Kelsey, to when you have like this job opportunities, like the one that it was like the most money that you could ever make in some sort. Was that in corporate?
It was government.
It was government?
It was just like corporate.
Right. And what were you doing then? What was that job?
I was a fisheries scientist was my title. And I worked in the Office of Protected Resources. So whenever a scientist wants to do something, they want to do research on a protected species, which is all marine mammals, and then some fish and birds. That's what we covered, and turtles. They have to get permits. We have to examine the project and see like, how is it going to impact the environment? What else is in the area that's going to get impacted? So I issued permits.
Well, your job title sounded more exciting to that than that.
Exactly. The part I enjoyed about it was connecting with the scientists, a lot of whom I had worked with in some capacity in the past. I really respected their work. That was the good stuff.
And so what age are we rocking around that time?
We are about 25.
25, and you've already like done college, done your master's, worked with the dolphins, the killer whales, and now you have a government job. That's pretty cushy.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. And then let's fast forward to the moment that I knew I needed to get out of there.
Yeah.
So first of all, favorite parts of my days when I worked there, in the fall and summer, I would bike to work, even though I got the parking garage thing hit me once. That was a terrifying moment. And now I'm slightly terrified of those parking garage gates. But always wear your helmet. I was protected. So I would, when I wasn't biking to work, which was a little terrifying through DC traffic. So when I wasn't biking to work, I would go to a spin class. I'd get up crazy early, go to spin class before work. And after work, I'd go to master swimming. I loved those moments. On the weekends, I was actually splitting my time between DC and Oregon at the time because Pete, my boyfriend at the time, now husband, had gotten a job in Oregon. And while we were out there, I hadn't found a job. So I was doing contract work and teaching swim lessons. So then when I was offered the job in DC, I took it. But we basically split our time 50-50. So on the weekends, I'd be out hiking with him, or I'd be off to Oregon to hang out with him. And then Monday through Friday, whatever hours I worked, it was just, thank God I had a work wife. And like, it was like two of my coworkers that I was super close with. And if I didn't have them, I don't know what I would have done. So somewhere in that year, close to the end of the year, I learned about Myers-Briggs types. Mm-hmm. And I am an ENFP. And I am an ENFP. I have been in every single variation of that test I have ever taken. That is me. And I read the description of that. And then I read the description of some other types. And then I was sitting in a staff meeting, and our department was pretty small. Like, you knew people, well, there were like 10 of us maybe in like a big meeting. And I remember looking around and being like, they love this. This feeds their souls. I'm not supposed to be here. It's okay for me not to like this. I gotta get out of here. And it was like, I gotta go right now. Like, this is not for me.
So you didn't have thoughts of like, what am I doing? How can I leave like stability, security, the paycheck, the, 401k, none of that. It was like, this doesn't feed my soul. I need to leave.
That drive to like, get me out of here was way stronger than anything. Like, what are you going to do next? Oh no, but I'm going to figure it out. I got to go though.
So you jumped without a plan.
I did. And I remember my friend saying, I would never have the bravery to do that. And I was like, I got to. Like, I didn't feel brave at all. I just was like, why wouldn't you? I got to get out of here.
So now you have decided to leave this cushy, beautiful government job and you don't know what you're doing. Is this when you got into coaching?
This is when I got into science writing.
Okay.
Yeah, which was on a freelance basis. So not much stability there.
But I mean, like, I didn't even know science writing was a thing. Like, I'm just going to like put that out into the universe as well. Like you said, take science. Is this like manuals? Is this like textbooks? And then make them digestible for all other humans in the land?
This is research papers.
Okay.
So take the fun research that's coming out and make it so that normal people can understand it and see how cool it is and funny it is.
So,
my science blog still exists. And I wrote an article in Mental Floss. There are a few other publications like normal people can find it, but you can find it on malcolmmackay.wordpress.com.
I'm going to I hope you have that link. And if not, can you put it in?
I'll give you the link.
Because like, who just drops a bomb? Like, so I still have a science blog. I'm like,
it hasn't been touched for years, but there are some great pieces in there. I can't believe this is where this conversation is going. Okay, so there's this beetle. There's this beetle that its penis is so big that it has to put it on its shoulder.
I love that we went there. The visual is so good, Kelsey.
There's a diagram with that post.
Now we all need to see, like we don't worry, everyone. We will be putting the link to the blog in the show notes to go there. And I have to tell you that Mental Floss is a great magazine. Like I have read a couple like of those, and it's a fascinating. And you're in there.
Amen. I think it was a post about red-eyed tree frogs, or an article about red-eyed tree frogs. I don't remember the year.
That's still so cool. Like there's never, like I never know what I'm going to learn about somebody when I get to talk to them. And so you did that for how many years?
Let's see. We moved to Maine in 2006, 2007. And I started coaching school. I did it for like 7 years because I started coaching school in like 2014, I think. And right before I started coaching school, I had 3 offers in a row for really big science writing gigs, like the biggest science writing outlets, like the people I thought of as like famous, asked me to write for them. I never applied, like, you know, that dream come true of like, oh my God, they want me to write for them. And then each one, the funding got cut last minute. Like, we're going to get you the contract in 2 weeks. And then I'm so sorry, we just lost all our funding. And that is what pushed me to, I mean, at the time, my income was all from triathlon coaching, personal training, and teaching group fitness, and a few science writing gigs. And then we moved into coaching.
I gotta say, as a, you know, personal trainer in a previous life as well. So you weren't just doing, you had gotten your personal training certification at some point. And did you ever teach step class?
No, we talked about this on my podcast when you came on. I'm terrified. I never taught step and I never taught Zumba.
No, okay, I didn't teach Zumba either. Step was my favorite thing I've ever done in my life. But I mean, would you not say that personal training on some level is the first, like it's like dipping your toe in coaching?
For me, swim coaching was.
Okay.
So I started coaching swimming when I was 16 and just kept doing it. And I taught this really interesting group when I was in DC. So it was always a side gig for me, like wherever I went. This group in DC was the in-between lessons and swim team crowd. And they were also unique in that they were a bunch of diplomats kids who their parents just kind of dropped them off there. Like they hadn't necessarily been like, yeah, I want to be a swimmer. But watching these kids grow, I still remember, and I still have this little fist pump thing from this boy named Jesse, who was a natural breaststroker. And if anyone's listening as a swimmer, like breaststroke is one of those strokes where you either get it or you don't. You're born being able to easily do a breaststroke kick or you're not. And there's still hope for you, but you're just not a natural breaststroker. So Jesse was a natural breaststroker and he was not natural with anything else.
Can you just like tell me which of the swimming moves is the breaststroke so I can have the visual?
The frog kick. So your legs come in, out together.
Right. So they make the big circle.
Yes. Yes. So Jesse was a natural breaststroker. So when we finally got to breaststroke, he moved from the back of the lane where some people thought he wasn't trying up to the front of the lane. And like he nailed it. And I just remember being like, Jesse, that was awesome. And he's like, yes. And that yes will always be with me. That is like the ultimate celebratory yes.
And now I'm going to take you back to IPAC school. I love Jesse. Mm-hmm. Jesse, thank you. And I won't lie, there is a little inner child in me that could never, ever be a swim coach because every time you say breaststroke, I go to the most inappropriate place ever. Which is so childish, I know, but it's just part of who I am.
I just told you about the dung beetle that throws its peanuts on his shoulder.
Also very important for me to know. So.
May this episode be unlike any other episode that you have made at FT with Tamara.
Yeah, we have enlightened conversation to live your best life, and this is what's going to help you have your best life. But I do believe that keeping the fun, play, and silliness is key, right? Which I know that you do as well.
Yes.
And so when we get into 2014 and, I'm bringing it back to when you say I started as a confidence coach. So you're literally coming into coaching school and that is the title. What made you step into that with ease 4 years ago?
Okay. So maybe it wasn't until I graduated coaching school that I started calling myself a confidence coach. But for me, so we coach who we needed, right? Mm-hmm. We are that coach for that person. My story in terms of confidence starts as a little kid. And Tamara, I will say, I was listening to, I think it was your conversation with Jillian Bolens on her podcast. And you said that in high school, you thought everyone hated you because you were feeling all of their emotions. Holy crap, sister. Thank you. So my story starts in elementary school. I remember walking down the hallway and timing my footsteps with, I hate myself, I hate myself, I hate myself. And people ask me, where does that come from? And I'm like, I don't know. But then when I heard you say that, I'm like, oh my God, I wonder if I was feeling everyone else's energy. Okay. So my story starts there. And then we go, like, let's just jump forward to college swimming. I always felt like I wasn't the greatest. I wasn't the superstar. So I'm swimming in a race, a 50 free, that takes like 25 seconds. And I noticed at the wall that I was in the lead. Okay, makes me uncomfortable, but I'm still swimming. And this is happening within a series of 25 seconds. As I get to the flags, the last 5 meters, I'm like, oh, I'm winning. And it gave me just enough push to hold back just a teeny tiny bit. So I touched in second, which is what I was aiming to do because I was not great enough. I wasn't a winner. That was for other people. So I didn't believe that I was worthy. I didn't believe that I was worthy of my own greatness. I didn't believe that I was enough. I had this giant gremlin that told me that I wasn't enough, that I wasn't worthy of being sparkly. I wasn't the one to be seen. I wasn't the one to lead. I could always be second best, but I never wanted to be the best. That just wasn't what I was here to do. So through coaching school, I cleared up all of that mess and I was able to see what I call my awesome, what I call everyone's awesome, because I believe that we all have this spark within us that is completely unique to us. And it is really, truly why we are here. And as we go through life, as we grow up, we get all this stuff piled on top of us. All these rules, these shoulds, these expectations. We're told wear a suit, go become an investment banker because you were an athlete. All of this stuff, follow, whatever you got your master's degree in, go keep going with that career. You have to stay with it forever. All of these shoulds. And it's when we do the work to clear those away that we again find our awesome and let that shine. Because that is why we're here. We are here to serve the world with whatever that is in us. It's that unique spark.
And so is that what you do with your clients now, is you help them unpile all the shit to get back to their spark?
Yeah.
And guys, I have, because I forget, it's so interesting. Like, they say that repetition is good for any human. Like, we think we're overdoing it by repeating ourselves over and over again. Right. But like, in truth, I've talked to Kelsey a couple times and I really don't retain everything that we talk about. Right. Because you had an analogy, the kitty litter. Can you share the litter analogy with me?
Yeah. So there are 7 levels of energy. And this is from IPAC with my own spin on it. So the bottom level, level 1, is victim energy. The world happens to me. It's the cat box. Levels 1 and 2 are the cat box. They're catabolic energy. So level 1 is woe is me. And you're rolling around in the kitty litter. Level 2, you're starting to feel angry. You want to win. It's my way or the highway. I'm right. Everyone else is wrong. You are pissed. There's so much judginess at level 2, and you are throwing poop. Then in level 3, you're going to clamber out of the cat box and you're going to dance around the edge. Picture a cat kind of balancing on the edge. That's what you're doing here, because you could dive it at any point. And here you think, I want to win and I want everyone else to come in second. You are rationalizing things, tolerating things, just explaining things. Level 4 is all about love and trying to fix other people, trying to fix situations. At level 5, that people and situations aren't broken. Instead, you want to empower them and you want to create win-win situations. At level 5, opportunities are everywhere in the quote unquote good things and the quote unquote bad things. Level 6, that is the place of intuition. In level 6, we are all one. Then level 7 is flow, or being in the zone. And at level 7, nothing is really real.
Let's talk about level 7. Level 7 is my favorite. So you just said nothing is real. Now, if I have some listeners here that are like, how is level 7 nothing is real? Because that feels like the worst thing that you could say. Can you help them understand? 'Cause I understand it, being a spiritual mentor, right? But somebody who's never heard that concept before might be like, what the heck is she talking about?
Did you just call yourself a spiritual avenger?
Woo, even like that even more. I said mentor, but I'll be a spiritual avenger. Yes.
Okay, yeah. I think you're a spiritual avenger. And level 7, we don't know we're in level 7 when we're in it. So it's when you're in meditation and there's nowhere else. There's nothing. It's when you are creating something and time stops. Maybe you're drawing and the sun's going down and you're not noticing. You're not noticing that until you look up and you're like, whoa, got dark in here. Maybe it's when you're exercising and there's just a 3-minute stretch that you have no recollection. So actually, when I first learned about these energy levels, I was swimming with a group in Maine and we did this set, and I don't remember the specific set anymore. It doesn't matter. It wasn't my favorite set. I was not particularly enthused about the idea of doing this set. And, excuse me, we did 10 swims and I went through all 7 energy levels through this period, this probably 15-minute period. I went from oh, I'm not good at this. I think it was a kick set. So I'm not good at kick. I don't want to do this. Such woe is me. To this sucks. This is a stupid idea. Why are we doing this set? To, okay, come on, suck it up. You can do this. To, I love these guys. I get to swim with them. It was me and all these 50-year-old guys with pot bellies. I'm so lucky I get to swim with this group. To, oh my God, this is an awesome opportunity to get me ready for this race in the summer. To, you guys, we got this. We're all in this together. To a few swims that I don't remember, but they were the fastest looking back.
That's really powerful, because that is truly the place where we connect, right? To whatever, I always say God, universe, source, spirit, whomever it is, but that's pure potentiality energy. That is the space of desire, intention, creation. All of the manifestation truly happens in that space.
Yes. And when we're in level 7, though, we can't connect with other humans because nothing else is real. In fact, at level 6, even one of the quote unquote drawbacks is that we are aloof as fuck. My words, not IPEX. Because we're so in this, we're all in this together. There's no good, there's no bad, there's no judging. There's intuition and there's nothing else. And so when we talk to normal people the majority of the world lives in level 2, right? Levels 1, 2, and 3. And so when you talk to somebody who lives in one of those levels and you're up here in level 6, thinking that things are wonderful, People who hang out in the lower levels are a little bit perplexed by you. So again, years ago when we lived in Maine, I was running in the winter and there was a small patch of ice on the road. And I remember thinking, don't step on the ice. So of course I stepped on the ice and I fell and my pinky finger, I like landed on my hip and my pinky finger and my finger bent back. And I remember thinking, first thing I thought was like, oh, how perfect. Where we look is where we go. It's true in our business. It's true in our life. It's true when running and there's only a small patch of ice and you step right on it. Next thing I thought was like, way to go, body. So many people fall on ice. They break their hip. They break their wrist. Look at this. I just have like a super flexible finger. And I ended up spraining my finger just a little bit and it needed to be taped for a couple days. And so I was teaching spin class and people were like, oh my God, what happened to your finger? And I told them this story. And I'm like, no, it's really cool because, you know, where you look is where you go. And the looks I got were like, oh, what? What? No, ice is terrible. Oh, I know so-and-so fell on the ice and broke whatever part of his body. And ice is awful. And, oh, you poor thing, he fell on the ice. And I'm like, no, you guys, this is really good. This is really exciting. And my finger, it's like a total superstar and it's going to be fine in a couple of days, you guys. And again, I'm just getting these like stares of, oh, yeah.
So can we even like say that these 7 levels of energy is almost like a vibration that we're putting out? Yes?
It is a vibration that we're putting out. Yes.
Right. For just to help. And I just can't help but think that that's pretty powerful because there's 7 chakras, right? Because everybody knows is my jam. And now we got these 7 levels of energy. And legitimately, and I really want to support the people who are listening to that, who are maybe in a level 6 and their friends, family, and coworkers and everybody else is in a level 2 or 3, and they're, you know, struggling throughout their day to try and support or make their level 2, 3 friends try and understand them. Now, having worked with this many people as you have who are up in the higher levels and are surrounded by, what is your advice for them on, you know, communication or surrounding themselves with people who are at a lower vibration than they are?
It's so much. Okay, so first of all, the first thing is like, you don't have to. You don't have to be around that energy. If you live in level 6 all day, people in level 1 and 2, like you're literally not going to understand what they're saying a lot of the time. They will be all worked up in a tizzy and you'll be like, this is not a big deal. I don't even understand. And you might even laugh about the situations. Try not to do that in front of them. But when we are in a higher level, we can always come down. You're not going to want to come down to 1, 2, or 3, please, probably, because they're not going to feel good to you. So find out, where can you come? If you come to level 4, that's giving. That is just like martyrdom. Level 5 is win-win. So you can still win and give to them in a winning situation. Maybe that's the place to connect with them.
I just find that so fascinating that you said that, because when I downloaded chakras, the heart chakra is resistance, which is the 4th floor. It's the 4th chakra. And the resistance is martyrdom. And like, I just think, man, God, whomever I received my download from, whenever something like this synchronistically happens, I'm just like, man, that's pretty powerful, right? And so you shared the story of being potentially absorbing people's energies when you were in grade school, right? So can you share a little bit about, like, would you say you're an empath? Would you say that you are, you know, gifted in the sense of feeling or taking in emotion?
I would say that now, yes. I am absolutely an empath. I feel everything. Everything. In terms of like being gifted, I shut that down when I was in college. My grandmother died when I was a sophomore in college, and I knew it. It was a Thursday, and I just knew that I just knew that she had died that day. And my parents didn't tell me for like 3 days, and then they told me. And they were like, we didn't want to interrupt you in exams. And I felt super gross about that. And I was like, I don't want to know. Like they told me, and I was like, I already knew that. And I don't want to know when people die. I would rather have people be able to tell me in a nice way, in a nice, caring way, than just knowing. So I shut it all down until I was going through coaching school and was meeting all of these magical, intuitive people. And I used to get frustrated. I have a friend who's a super intuitive Reiki practitioner, and she would tell me things, and I'd be like, Beth, can you tell me something I don't know? And she was like, Kelsey, you already know it all. You can do this too. Yeah, no, but really, can you tell me something? Like, tell me something new. And at the same time, I'd get these tarot readings, and I'd have the same thing. I'd be like, oh, yeah, I already knew that. Isn't there something new? And still, it took me, it's been a practice. It's been such a massive practice that I have a picture of the High Priestess tarot card on my wall, on my desk, to remind me to trust my intuition, because it is right. Always. When I listen to her, she always guides me in the right way, whatever the right way is at that point.
And so I love this, because this is like my favorite conversation right about now, receiving and then believing and taking action on the receive. So when you say, like, when you take action on your intuition, it always is the right thing. Can you give us some examples of that so that people can understand how they can use it in their day-to-day practice too?
Yeah. Look, so it shows up in little ways, big ways too. But, well, reaching out to you and just being like, why was Tamara, like, every day it was Tamara. Why am I thinking about this woman who is wearing this amazing coat at True You Live? Is it really about the coat? No. Your coat is amazing. But it's not the reason that I just like needed you in my life. It was just like, reach out. So I did. So I reached out, and I'm like, you're on my heart. I have learned to do that. Years ago, I would have just been like, yeah, I keep thinking about this chick I met at True You Live. Kind of weird. And I would have like watched you on social media. And I'm like, I don't really know her. No, it's not the time to reach out. Maybe you would have like put out some offer, and I would have like kind of danced around it and maybe been like, oh, maybe I'm interested in that. But because I kept getting the call and to reach out to you, to like just know you, I'm like, all right, I'm doing this. Because what's the worst that can happen? It turns out she's a total jerk and was like, oh, I'm on your heart. That's weird.
Which was the polar opposite of what happened. It was like, oh my gosh, Kelsey, yay, you're the mine too. And it was like, boom, right? Like but if you really think about universal energy and vibration and frequency and those kinds of things, even you having those thoughts would create or, manifest or mirror the same thought in the person that you're thinking about. I love that's how energy works, because how often do you think of somebody and they call you or etc. So to me, I had been thinking about you, and then you messaged me, and I was like, hey, there we go. I didn't even have to do the work you did. I just had to think of you.
I love it when that happens.
It's the best. I don't know why I'm being asked this question, but I'm going to do it. Because I think this is a really profound conversation that's been coming up for me over the last little while, for myself and for the people that I work with. And that is, you took a really bold step when saying like, hey, I've been thinking about you. So what are your thoughts on asking for the things that you want or you desire in your life?
Asking out loud or asking oh my God. I've been thinking about this lately. Okay.
See, this is good.
So, and the thoughts haven't come out in words yet, so this might be messy. Okay, so first of all, I'm a big fan. Ask for what you want. Huge fan. We even teach our dog to ask for what he wants, and he does it. Then I think there's a place. Okay, so listen up, healers, intuitives, coaches. We love to All right, I'm going to use the word serve, and let me get a disclaimer here. When I work with people, I view it as connection. I view open heart to open heart. The energy flows equally between us. We both get off the call feeling completely jazzed. But I'm going to use the word service, which to me actually feels like there's a hierarchy, and it feels kind of icky, which is not the way I think about what I do. But we want to serve. We want to connect. We want to coach our asses off. We want to help people. That's play for us, right? And so how many times have you been in a situation where you are connecting with somebody who has similar gifts to you, and you are able to coach them, and then they're like, what do you need? Or maybe they don't even ask, but you know that there's an opening for that. And you're just so in the moment of like, you're still so jazzed from giving. They're like, oh, I'm good. And yet there's this huge thing that you need help with. I've learned that's like a little secret pocket of desire and asking for what you want, that I'm just seeing it now. I'm seeing those moments of like, wait a second, why didn't I ask for that? And I'll get kind of jealous. I'll see that person connecting with someone else, and then I'll see like what comes out of it. And I'm like, I want that. Well, why didn't you ask for that? You had that person's attention. You could have just said like, hey, I really want you to coach me. I really want to know more about your gifts. I really want to experience them. You can ask for it. But I think sometimes we just get so in the flow of doing our thing, of stepping into our power and really truly like being in the flow. We forget receiving.
Well, and I think that question, you touched on something that has been a sore spot of mine for the last year. I'm going to give it like a full year, because I went to Unfair Advantage in February, and one of the things that is always said is, well, how can I help you? Like, what can I do for you? And since February, it was like, I'm okay. I like panic. It's like, the biggest question somebody can ask you. And the paralyzation of the ask. So I think it's a really powerful thing that you have just described it as this pocket of desire, because desire is simply shooting, like I go to Abraham Hicks, shooting, this rocket of what you want out into the universe. And you've got this pool now, this awareness of this pool of ask that you have now brought your attention to.
Yeah. Yeah.
How magical is that?
And it's okay to want. Just in case you need to hear that, it is okay to want. And it's okay to ask for not just help. You've heard it's okay to ask for help before, but it's okay to ask for somebody else's gifts. It's what they want to do. They want to help you.
Support.
Like if you want me to coach you, oh my God, ask me. I love coaching. Right. I can't wait to coach you. Ask for it.
Such a powerful statement, because I think that there's so many listeners who, and especially because being in the presence, and you're the same way, of bringing incredible people into your podcast space and then being able to share their gifts with the world. If you have that, connection or that vibrational match with Kelsey, right? Like it's such a beautiful thing to say like, wow, I'm really vibrating with her. I'm really connecting to everything that she's saying. Even if you're simply reaching out and starting a relationship with Kelsey, right? Whatever that may look like, sending her a message, sending her like something on Instagram or Facebook or email, because she's human, guys. We are just humans who want to do what it is that we do in support of you. And so I think that that's a beautiful lead-in, Kelsey, just to say like, where would they send you that message or their thought or that feeling or this emotion that you're invoking in them?
Yeah. I love notes. I'm a words of affirmation girl. So yeah, reach out on Instagram, on Facebook, wherever. Just reach out through my website. And I think like, I just want to say one other thing on that is that we have this idea sometimes of, oh, so-and-so's got it all together. They don't need my love bomb. They don't need to hear from me that like what they said really impacted me. You know what? Everybody needs to hear that. Everybody wants to hear it because, like, I know for me, if I hear something from one person, like, oh my God, your post really resonated with me, or that podcast episode really resonated with me, I'm like walking on clouds for the rest of the day. That's why I do this, just for one person.
Yeah.
And I think, like, especially those of us in this entrepreneurial space, I don't love this phrase, but I love what it means. A rising tide lifts all boats. We are all in this together. And the only reason I don't like it is because it's oversaid.
I've never heard it.
Oh, good. So a rising tide lifts all boats.
I go into this like little place of like we're little lights, and that, you know, one vibration or light moving in one direction only can go at one speed. But, you know, you attach a whole bunch, it's like momentum, and, you know, we get there faster together. So I just do a complicated explanation of that, which I'd have to back to get it.
My other way of explaining it is that we're like Christmas lights. And if one goes out, then all the others after it are going to go out. So support your light. Let your light shine as bright as possible. And by shining your light as bright as possible, everyone else is going to be able to shine their light as bright as possible too.
I love you. You know that.
I do. And thank you. I receive it. And I love you.
Like, it's just like, you're just a beautiful, beautiful human who is shifting the vibration of the earth, Kelsey. And I am so grateful and honored that you sent me that message that day. Like, truly, truly, truly. And I do have to ask you a book nerd question now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are so many incredible books in this universe that have impacts on us, but I want you to share with my listeners the one book. And, you know, for some reason, if there's two, I'll honor that, you know, but like the book that really was the game changer, that changed the pivot, or like really influenced you, or you felt it so much.
So, all right. The one that threw itself at me so we didn't talk about this at all, but I live in Sarasota, Florida right now. We moved here in January. And before this, we being my husband and my dog and I, traveled around the country for 16 months in a camper. We were living in uncertainty. We had sold our house in Maine and we're trying to decide where we wanted to live next. And we bounced between, this is awesome, this is an adventure, I absolutely love this, to like, my God, where are we going to live? What are we going to do? Like, really, where are we going to live? We have no idea. So we bounced between, always in uncertainty, bouncing between it being awesome and it being horrible. So bouncing between levels 1 and 6. And at one point, I'm like codependent on books. I need to have a book always. And I feel the panic like I'm in the last 20 pages of a book. And I'll even turn to my husband and be like, I'm almost done with my book. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, no, when I'm done with this, I don't have anything else to read. Like, this is panic mode. Yeah. So I went to Barnes & Noble at some point on this journey, and I was in the personal development section because I'm a nerd. And there was this book it was like bottom left, and it was sticking out just a tiny bit. It was one copy of this book, and it's called The Art of Uncertainty by Dennis Merritt Jones. And Tamara, this is the book that everyone had been asking me to write during this whole adventure. The book that I had been writing in my head, but I didn't want to write a book at that time. And I pulled this book out, and it is like almost every page is dog-eared. I don't reread books typically. I have reread this book over and over and over again. This is like, it's like my heart wrote this book when I wasn't looking.
Well, I had to write that down clearly as being a book that I most definitely need to read. Thank you for that. Like, you know, as the energy reading, because when I'm in podcast, guys, I have a secret weapon. I totally read my my participant while they're talking to me so that I can guide the conversation in a way that will light them up. Totally awesome to have that, right? So, but like being able to feel that when you just described that, Kelsey, was like worth every single one of us reading that book. That was powerful. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I feel like it's a secret book too. I've never met anyone who's ever read it.
Well, and I think that that's the most powerful thing, because when we learn to live in uncertainty, then we're living.
Yeah. That's what I've been told. I'm a unicorn because I love uncertainty. I wake up every morning genuinely excited to find out what's going to happen.
I love this. I love this. And by the way, as a total nerd too, like I have backup books. If I don't have at least 3 personal development and 3 young adult fantasy books on my shelf as backup books, I start to have like anxiety that I don't have. Like, so I feel you, sister. I feel you. I'm like, I have like 2 self-development books right now. One I'm about to start and one's on my shelf. And I'm like, I should probably go get The Art of Uncertainty. And Kelly Sheets had mentioned the Ram Dass book. I need that in my collection. And I'm just going to go. I love these interviews because I'm just going to go buy all the books that everybody tells me about.
Will you start a book list?
Oh my gosh.
Please.
Yes, I will start a book list. Thanks for that. That was magical.
Yeah.
You never know, guys. You never know the thing is going to drop on you and you're going to get the vibration and be like, that is a thing. That's totally going to happen.
Thank you.
Think about that. 52 guests in a year. That'd be 52 books on a book list, and it could come out every year. Shut the back door.
Yeah. I've never heard that. I've heard shut the front door, but we can shut the back one too if you want.
I just do my own thing. I've always done my own thing. I love you, Kelsey, and I'm going to let everybody have all this information. So I do need that blog post for the Beetle with the Big Dong for our listeners and all your magic. And guys, I know she said contact her on all social media or on her website. All that information will be there. She'll be able to tell you what level of energy you are in and what you need to do to move through that. And she is a spectacular human, and I am just so grateful that our paths crossed a couple months ago.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you. And I know everyone's going to love you too. All right, guys, have the most magical Thursday, and we will drop it like it's hot for Magical Monday. Have a great day.